Yo, so welcome to the freaking video, dude. Today, we're doing a special little kind of melody thing. So I've been experimenting with some stuff, and I came up with a melody. It sounds like this. I'm gonna show you how to do this today. Wait for that beat drop. So we're gonna be doing something a little bit like that today. It was kind of like a spooky melody. There's some interesting tricks to do here. So I'm gonna show you what this final result looks like. So the final result looks like this. It's in Fruity Slicer. But that's not where all of this started. All of it actually started in this project. And it was this preset in Flex. This is it without FX. With effects. So you see, there's a big difference with effects on it. So what I did was a pretty simple chord progression. So what I did was, oh my God, I haven't played it with effects on. Oh, to make it creepy, I ended up coming up with a chord progression that I liked. Now, I'm pretty sure the chord progression was D, G, C sharp, E. So that was like the melody, and then the chord progression was a little something like. But then the notes that I was playing wasn't really matching up in normal scale, and I was like, well, it's kind of got that creepy vibe. Maybe it's in harmonic minor. So then I ended up tracking it down, and I found out that it was in B harmonic minor, or B minor harmonic. And I was like, yo, so that sounds pretty sick. So I came up with a melody in it. So to get that creepy vibe, can you like use these? I was even higher up. Do like a little flange, and then you can get like that little like tinny effect to it, and that the tension between the two notes, because they're so close together that one wants to take over the other one. Just make whatever creepy melody you want. And all of this like little bass line was the actual bass notes, the root notes of the chords. So D, G, C sharp, E. And it gives it like this little tension, because these like well, I guess these are the bass notes and these are like the sub bass notes down here. These bass notes here are literally just the root note of the chord and then one note in the scale above it. So D. So I never actually heard it on its own. It's pretty nice. So that's how I came up with the melody for this. Now, what it all comes down to, I think, is the effects. The effects really play a major role on making this sound odd and creepy. So the first thing I added was a delay. Now this is the fruity delay. So it lets you hear it without it. With it. gotta like exaggerate the effect so you can really hear it. I'm gonna turn up the wet on this. It kind of adds like a time modulation, kind of like a weird pitch bend, and that gives it like this weird tension that is really, really desirable. You can do this in Fruity Delay 3. And shout out to BusyWorks Beats, because that's where I learned this technique. I only got FL Studio 20 recently, so I haven't been able to do this. I like this a lot. Now, you might be able to do this in Valhalla Supermassive. I haven't tested it. Let's go to the default preset. Sound ugly as hell. Not in this case, this isn't gonna sound good. So what you wanna do is turn the time all the way down so that you get basically no actual delay. And then you're gonna be using this time modulation and the wet level to mess with your pitch. Because the time is gonna be basically how fast the signal is going to move. Like it's hard to explain, but some of the delays, which aren't going to really be existent here, are going to be faster or slower than the other ones, which means they're going to be higher or lower pitch. So it adds a pitch wobble because everything's going to be all different. So you can turn up this time modulation until you get it where you want it. You can mess with this cutoff too. I'm not hearing that much of a difference, so I'm really not going to change it. You can turn down the rate. Turn up the rate. And then turn down the wet just to dial it back. And turn down the rate. It gets sound better. You can turn on the level of the feedback. So this is mainly just the time modulation affecting it. So adds this like slight tension and eeriness to the melody. Next, I added a compressor. Kind of simple. I'm going to cut most of the dynamics out. So this is a Molotov by TDR. It's good because it's a free plugin. You can get it anywhere. In this case, I mainly just compressed it. I wanted to get the little tingy parts at the beginning of this vibraphone preset to just go away. So I compressed them and just got rid of them. That was that. And then I was like, okay, I want it to be really smooth. So I added Fruity Love Filter and just kept it on the default preset. Literally mixes fully up, and it adds that like weird whirling effect to it. Like it's like it compresses the high end and makes it like kind of harsh. So you can take a listen. This is without it. With it. Yeah, I mean that adds kind of a creepiness factor already, just because it's so oddly smooth, and then it's pushing the boundaries of like an ear-wrenching feeling almost. Like it's almost at an ear-wrenching kind of volume and piercing noise. That's very important. And then I just EQ'd it, I think, to get rid of some of the highs and restrict it a little bit. Then I made this really ass beat. So you listen to this beat, which I did not like at all. And I was like, well, I like this melody, but it's not working on this beat for some reason. So you can tell the vibes just did not match up. And that was very obvious. I knew the beat was ass, but I couldn't find a solution to fix it because I wanted to save this melody. So what I did is I went ahead and rendered out this melody. You can see it. I'll pull it up here in a second. And it's spooky. And I like to, if I render out something, what BPM it is and what scale it's in, just so I don't have to mess with that later. It just makes life easy. So did that, and I was like, okay, well, I'll make a new beat and I'm gonna resample it. And I changed the tempo of the project to 144, clicked this stretch button so that as the project tempo went down, it would stretch the signal out and pitch correct it so that it would fit the right length. So basically I changed the tempo of this sample from 160 to 144. Now that's pretty simple, and you can try it if you want. You can see it right here. I have the stretch mode on, very important. And then what I did is you can literally just take this BPM and change it. And look, it'll ask you to like restretch it, and you'll usually say yes, and it'll restretch it to whatever. Boom, you can change the tempo of a sample pretty easily. And then just make sure when you double click on this, now this is a little bit different how I did this, but make sure it's on stretch mode because it'll sound really ass on a different mode. So just put it on the stretch mode. Unless you want it to sound ass, then you can do it the other way. Whatever you want, man. The world is your oyster. That's all I'm saying. And then what I did at that, I pitched it up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I pitched it up. And then I resampled it into this. So basically I made it more creepy. So like the more weird tension and stretching and pitch modulation that you can do to a sample, it's gonna make it sound creepier and creepier. And in this case, I made it even longer, and then the pitch correction has to do more work. So it sounds very odd, and that's what really makes it stand out. Makes it sound a little creepy. All I did to resample it is I went into the channel rack, went to audio, and I added a fruity slicer, kept the fruity slicer out, went to audio, and then went to my consolidated clip and dragged it in there. And I sliced it by beat. So you can go here and then click here and then say slice by beat, and then boom, you can go. And then by slicing it into beats, you can then play it on the piano. So here is a. And what I did to give it kind of like that pulsing effect is I took this, and you can up the attack on it. So they kind of sound like they're pulsing. And all I kind of did was just kind of mess around with it a little bit. And I came up with this. And some of these creepy beats, they really go hard for some reason. But you know, a lot of rappers nowadays are rapping on these melodic, creepy, vibey beats. So, all I did for effects on this was pretty simple. So here was the sliced bit. I added some halftime. You can hear before. So this is before halftime. With halftime. You can tell it's adding like that half speed one, and just adding a little bit of lower, basically presence to the melody, just so it isn't so airy and weird because I had to pitch it up. So I added some halftime to give it some body. And the EQ was just take off some of the high end because it got a little bit harsh after I pitched it up. And did that time modulation thing again and just exaggerated the hell out of it just so it sound insane. And then I added reverb because reverb makes everything sound ambient and good. So without reverb, with reverb, the ambience is just on another level right now. And what's nice is that because you make this sample on your own, you know all of the root notes of the chords, and therefore you can go into the beat and take this here, and you already know the root notes of the chords to put your 808s on. So overall, the big catch-all things to get from this would be, if you're designing a melody, if you want to make it creepy, try and harmonic minor. Mess with pitch modulation, that's number 2. And then I would say, if you want to make it a nice trap beat, you want to make it ambient. So you want nothing that's going to be that harsh. So you use some EQ, add some compression to really mush it down, make it soft and smooth. Another tip would be to resample it and then change the tempo to mess with more pitch modulation. And then to make it more ambient, add reverb. Just add reverb. So this has been it. I have been Vex, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.